This is QTV News. I am Ansman Esonyasi and thanks for joining us. Our headlines. One of the most important and eagerly anticipated matches in Gambia's recent football history ended in what is becoming a familiar tale of disappointment. Another underperformance by Gambia's national team has left football fans despondent about the country's prospects of progressing in World Cup qualifying. 30 lucky and talented youngsters who could one day prove to be the future of Gambian soccer have just concluded 3 weeks of high-quality training at the prestigious QTV Soccer Academy camp. The government is planning to get tough on those who flout tobacco control regulations. That's according to newly announced initiatives to ensure that relevant laws on tobacco control are adhered to. Stay tuned as we bring you more on this and other stories. Gambia's woeful record under coach Tom Saintfiet continues as the Scorpions again failed to sting against the Palancas Negras of Angola on home soil in the 2022 World Cup preliminary qualifiers. Wilson Gaspar's sole effort in the 31st minute was slim but enough to give Angola a promising start as the two sides are set to meet again in Luanda on Tuesday. Babkarsi has the rest of the story.
Before the match kicked off, a minute's silence was observed in tribute to the late former popular coach Peter Bono Johnson and the Gambia's first president Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara. Fans' hopes of the Gambia making it to the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar already appeared to be dashed. The Scorpions of the Gambia opened their World Cup preliminary qualifiers with a disappointing 1-0 loss at home on Friday evening against Angola. Wilson Gaspar's 31st minute header from a free kick was slim but enough to give Angola a promising start. Coach Tom Saintfiet and his players went into the game with high spirits, but poor tactics punished them in front of the expectant home fans who had packed the stadium to capacity. After regaining their composure, having conceded the goal, the home side had several chances to equalize, with Hassan Ceesay, Musa Barrow and Lamin Jallow all proving wasteful in front of goal. The Gambia could have taken the lead a few minutes into the game, but what appeared to be a penalty for the host was ruled out by the Nigerian referee after the pacey Hassan Ceesay was brought down. Despite conceding before the interval, the fans, many of whom were dressed in their national team jerseys, were hopeful of a possible win, but it was not to be. The coach had pleaded for massive support ahead of the game, which was well responded by the fans who travelled in their thousands to support the boys but left the stadium after 90 minutes, sad and disappointed. Tom Saintfiet, head coach of the Scorpions, defended his tactics, saying the warm and humid weather was the reason why, at some point, some players ran out of energy.
We are used to play with three in the midfield. By the change in midfield in the halftime, we came with two, and it's naturally much more difficult for them to run. It costs much more energy. We have now to consider, we have still alternatives for the midfield position who didn't play today. We have to puzzle tonight, tomorrow and on Sunday to find our solution for the midfield role, the way we're going to play and which players will fit there. But naturally it's a game what costs a lot of energy because you're pushing to get that equalizer for 55 minutes or something like that. And that's normal. Players lose energy. Also other players, I saw people from Angola having are tired. I saw also Hassan Ceesay having a problem. And it's normal. It's very warm, humid. Some players come from Europe and you lose a lot of energy. And for sure, if you push to win, then you lose more energy. So we need now to see who recovers, how do they recover, and then we need to puzzle who is the best player for the position. So, but it's sure on the end a lot of players were tired, but it demanded a lot to try to score that equalizer. It cost a lot of energy.
The Saint was criticized by sports journalists, pundits and fans for his tactics, particularly in the first half. Instead of admitting to errors in his tactics, the coach believed that some journalists have a hidden agenda against him. Since taking over as head coach of the Scorpions, Saintfiet has managed a single win from a possible 5 competitive games. The preliminary round of the 2022 World Cup qualifiers in Africa includes 28 teams who play over 2 legs. The 14 winners going on to join the continent's top 26 teams in the second round, when the 40 teams will be drawn into 10 groups of 4. The 10 groups winners will qualify for the final knockout round. which will be played over 2 legs. The 5 winners of those ties will represent the continent at the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
The 2019 edition of the QTV Soccer Academy Camp wrapped up yesterday after the 30-20 successfully completed the 3-week training camp in sporting, moral and religious discipline. The camp training aims at a holistic approach to long-term development in football, combined with instilling religious and moral values. Mahmoud Lamin Choi reports.
These young children, aged from 13 to 16 years, have been the privileged few out of the many to benefit from an extra capacity-building football initiative. Under the tutelage of professional coaches, their football potential was effectively sharpened. During the 3-week Soccer Academy camp, they were assessed over the course of 20 matches against other teams in the country, during which they were able to showcase a great deal of improvements in their skills. 3 draws and 2 losses out of the 20 matches. Discipline, honesty, and hard work were among the moral lessons the students have had as takeaways from the camp. Delivering his speech before parents and his staff members, the Chief Executive Officer of the Q Group advised the children to be proud of their family backgrounds, give respect and support to their parents. With his belief in academy before sports, Mohamed Jah has promised to start taking full responsibility of the children's schooling and also give them transport allowances in order to smoothen their path to success. Gambian football has been floundering for a long time. Mr. Jah believes that it won't be long before these young aspiring professional players come to the rescue of their country through football. He further stated that the academy is not building a player, but a team. Parents were happy with their children's performance. Updates from the camp director. They finally joined the podium to express gratitude to the Q Group for financing the 3 weeks camp. The children also expressed their feelings about their life-changing opportunity. Finally, the soccer trainees of the camp were each awarded a certificate marking their completion of the 3-week training course. Mahmoud Lamin Choi for QTV News.
And that report by Mahmoud Lamin Choi will lead us to the commercial break, but the news continues when we return.
Waa jàng yaa ngi nice de xanaa da ngaa génn.
Génn déedéet jonge si saal jonge si waañ maa ngi tooga.
sa xarit moto yi ak sanse bii nga xam ne man ma jaaxle suma ndijaay ak xaritam yaa war a ñëw añ si tey te maa ngi nii suma moto yi kër yi ñëpp a tooy xaw ma nu maa def.
man du may toogee mata léegi Oryx gas lay toogee wóor na gaaw na yomba na tey doo si tilim ñaar laa si jënd nag xaaral ma abal la benn ndax nga bañ a naaja.
Oryx gas moog ñun ba faw. Oryx gas mun nga ko am si bépp Atlas station si biir réew mi.
It's the new and improved Sunicare, the Sunicare brand you know with the new look you love.
Established in 1988, Sunicare is the name you trust for all your high-quality home products.
Ñu ne lu yaaga dëgg la.
ku meeri nga mu tooñalti.
Now, with the new and beautifully renovated showroom at Gympex, you can shop to your heart's content and browse through an excellent collection of products in a cool, fresh showroom with a classic modern design and feel.
Shop for your high-quality Tramontina cookware, hand and garden tools, as well as beautiful and durable souvenir paints, all sourced from Brazil, the best in the world.
For more information, call us on 4375003 or visit our showroom at Gympex Road.
Sunicare, because you value your home.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Health, in collaboration with Raid the Gambia, on Friday held a media briefing on the new tobacco control regulations. Officials say that if fully implemented, the new regulations would enable the smooth implementation of the tobacco control laws.
Speaking at the press conference, Modu Njai, the Director of Health, Promotion and Education at the Ministry of Health, said the government is committed to the fight against tobacco and that anyone found wanting will face the full force of the law. He said that amongst the many prohibitions in the 2019 tobacco regulations is the sending of underage children to buy cigarettes, public smoking, or even parents smoking in the house, especially when they are close to children or pregnant women. He also said that if found wanting, offenders will pay a maximum fine of $5,000.
Now we are going to engage all the chiefs in this country. We are also going to engage all the government structure, at the regional level, all the structures that are under the leadership of the governors. We are going to engage all of them. We are also going out massively to reach out to the entire population. Be it the women groups, traditional communicators, community drama groups, mothers clubs, and so on. Village support group, village development committees. We are going to reach out to all of them so that each and every one of them will understand the act. And we might even go up to the extent of even trying to translate the act into local languages.
Mamadou Gassama, the World Health Organization focal person on tobacco, gave a breakdown of dangers associated with smoking, saying the Gambia has the most comprehensive tobacco control regulation laws in the region.
So what is happening now? It is on the decline, seriously on the decline in the developed world. But it is on the increase in the developing. Why? You ask yourself, why is this happening? It is happening for various reasons. And one of them is enforcement, or having very robust, very strong, very comprehensive legislations or instruments in place that can deter people from smoking or tobacco use. And of course, enforcing them.
Other speakers included Omar Baji, the tobacco focal person at the Ministry of Health, and Lamin Sonko of Read the Gambia, who both expressed similar sentiments. According to World Health Organization, there are a staggering 1.2 billion smokers globally, 80% of whom are from developing countries, and nearly 1 million people die annually due to second-hand smoking. In the Gambia, 8.4% of smokers are between the age of 12 to 20 years. Malik Nyang for QTV News.
A 5-day national training of trainers on nutrition in emergency preparedness and response has ended at the National Nutrition Agency office in Kanifing. Supported by UNICEF, the training was jointly organized by the National Disaster Management Agency, National Nutrition Agency, and the Ministry of Health. Alusisi has the rest of the story.
The 5 days training availed participants the opportunity to gain the required skills and knowledge to serve as future trainers in terms of emergency preparedness and response. At the end of the training, the participants agreed, among other things, to embark on further training across the districts and regions in the country and to review the composition of the existing National Technical Alliance for Nutrition, including the National Disaster Management Agency and the Gambia Red Cross Society. Modou Njai, Director of Health Promotion and Education, Ministry of Health, is hopeful about the implementation of the recommendations. For Sana Dahaba, Executive Director of NDMA, adequate response cannot take place in the absence of good preparation. He hopes the required resources will be available to implement recommendations from the training. Deputizing for the UNICEF country representative, Dr. Sahid Hawan, Child Survival and Development Manager with UNICEF, said the Gambia, like other countries, is prone to disaster as a result of climate change. He therefore welcomes the idea of organizing such a training. Disaster preparedness, according to Dr. Sahid, saves lives and properties, and therefore requires high flexibility and efficient response. He assured that UNICEF is committed to the welfare of children who are the most vulnerable during disasters. Gramba Keita, Deputy Permanent Secretary with the Minister of Health, pointed out one of the key problems confronting the Gambia in relation to disaster preparedness and response. At the end of the training, the participants were awarded with certificates and tasked with sharing the knowledge gained with colleagues and communities through step-down trainings. Reporting for QTV News, I am Ali Sise.
Meanwhile, discarded cells from oysters, which stick to mangrove plants and are collected by oyster farmers, mainly women in the Senegambia region, are found to have many uses, including growing food, making cement, and much more. Mamjara ACC tells us more.
Recycling is the converting of waste into usable materials. This can ensure waste reduction in landfill sites and prevent pollution. Oysters are locally cultivated by Senegambian women, and the discarded shells, locally called haripine, are often considered to be waste. However, they can be recycled into various kinds of finished products needed for development. In Greater Banjul area, the lack of good roads is one of the main problems people face. It has been shown that where oyster shells are used in road construction, it prevents floods. Also, the shell can be used for driveway and housing constructions. Ground oyster shells can be used to feed livestock, particularly as food for hens and also as fertilizer for gardeners and much more. It is also used for plugging variously flooded or muddy paths. QTV News discovered that the shell can fight climate change and that heated oyster shell can improve the quality of polluted water, making it fit for industrials and other uses as well as having a beneficial impact on water-based species as well. Sophie Jata, an oyster shell vendor, explains her thought on the importance of oyster shell in the development of the country, particularly in road constructions.
There are many benefits one can derive from oyster shells, and those who know it understand what I'm saying. When pounded and mixed with paint, it produces a very nice color. Some people come all the way from Bassett to buy the shell. We sell a truckload of shell for $2,500 and sometimes even more.
She also reminisces about the days when people used oyster shell to paint their houses. Mariatu Sala, National Director for SOS Villages, the Gambia, said they have been using oyster shells in their institution since 1984. She further explains why they choose to spread oyster shell in the driveway and in the school compound rather than using cement in all SOS institutes.
Because it's more beautiful, the beauty. It's white, so it makes your place look more decent and smart looking. Cement, it's a bit dull. This is brighter, white, pure. During the rainy season, you'll see that your grounds will not be muddy, and you wouldn't get also, if it is properly done, no water will be stagnating anywhere.
She urges the government to look seriously at using oyster shells because it can help a lot in terms of areas that have muddy and stagnant water, as it makes those places accessible for people to walk on, and it is also affordable. The benefits of oyster shells are not only on recycle them to use on roads, houses, fertilizer, and food for livestock, but it can be transformed to various kinds of materials, such as a huge range of decorative uses, including lamp, accessories, as well as in-house interiors, and much, much more. Reporting for QTV News, I am Mamjar Aisise.
And before we end this bulletin of the news, let's take a quick look at our main stories. One of the most important and eagerly anticipated matches in Gambia's recent football history ended in what is becoming a familiar tale of disappointment. Another underperformance by Gambia's national team has left football fans despondent about the country's prospects of progressing in World Cup qualifying. 30 lucky and talented youngsters who could one day prove to be the future of Gambian soccer have just concluded 3 weeks of high-quality training at the prestigious QTV Soccer Academy camp. The government is planning to get tough on those who flout tobacco control regulations. That's according to newly announced initiatives to ensure that relevant laws on tobacco control are adhered to. And that brings us to the end of this edition of the news. Join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Bye for now.